Imagine this. Your own family throws dirt on your name. They forge your death certificate. They bury your identity, literally, just so they can steal everything you've ever worked for. Now imagine disappearing long enough for them to believe they've won. And then walking back into their lives when they least expect it. That's my story. And when I say they thought I was dead, oh, they wished they'd kept it that way. If you've ever dreamed of serving justice to people who betrayed you, hit that like button, subscribe, and get ready, because this is one of the most satisfying revenge stories you'll ever hear. I grew up in a family where loyalty was supposed to mean everything. At least, that's what my parents drilled into me. Blood is thicker than water, my mom always said. But blood doesn't mean much when it's poisoned. See, I had an older brother, Daniel. On the outside, he was charismatic, successful, the golden child. But inside? He was a vulture. He loved money, power, and control more than he loved family. And me? I was always the quiet one, the one who kept to myself, the one who, honestly, never thought he'd stab me in the back. Until he did. When our parents passed away, they left behind not just a house, but a decent estate, businesses, and savings. Enough for both of us to live comfortably. Enough to share. But Daniel didn't want to share. The man actually faked my death. He had papers drawn up, paid off a shady lawyer, and forged my signature on documents declaring me legally deceased. I found out only because a friend called me, crying, saying they were sorry for my passing. And when I looked into it, my so-called death certificate was already filed. My bank accounts? Closed. My share of the inheritance? Gone. All transferred neatly into Daniel's name. I can't even describe that kind of betrayal. My own brother, burying me on paper just to steal my life. The weeks after were hell. Everywhere I turned, doors were slammed shut. I tried to fight it, but imagine walking into a government office and being told, "Sir, according to our system, you don't exist." I was powerless. Invisible. The anger boiled inside me like acid. My heart raced at night. My hands would shake every time I thought of Daniel, smiling, probably drinking whiskey in my house, driving my car, living my life. It wasn't just theft. It was erasure. He hadn't just stolen money, he had stolen me. 4 months, I lived in the shadows. Working odd jobs under the table, sleeping in cheap motels. But anger has a way of sharpening you. One night, staring at the cracked ceiling of yet another motel room, I made a vow. If Daniel wanted me dead on paper, fine. I'd stay dead. But when I came back, I wouldn't just take what was mine. I'd take everything. I started small. Quiet. I connected with an old college friend who worked in law. At first, he thought my story was too wild to believe, until I showed him the forged paperwork. The sloppy signatures. The suspicious transfers. We built a case, slowly, silently. And the best part? Because Daniel thought I was gone, he got careless. He sold businesses, bought real estate, left paper trails everywhere. Then came the move that made my revenge bulletproof. I created a trust. Quietly, legally, and ironclad. Every asset I reclaimed would go into it. And when the time came, Daniel wouldn't just lose what he stole, he'd lose his future. Months turned into years. I rebuilt, I planned, I prepared. And finally, I was ready. It started with a letter. Not from me, from my lawyer. Delivered right to Daniel's $1 million mansion. Imagine his face when he opened it, and realized the dead brother he buried was suing him for fraud, forgery, and theft. But that wasn't the best part. The best part was walking into that courtroom. I'll never forget the sound. The heavy double doors opening. My shoes echoing on the polished floor. And there he was, Daniel, sitting smugly with his lawyers, until he saw me. His face drained of color like he'd just seen a ghost. Because, in a way, he had. The trial dragged on for weeks, but the evidence was stacked so high even his expensive lawyers couldn't climb it. Every forged document, every shady transfer, every dollar he stole, it was all laid out. And the judge? Oh, the judge had no sympathy. Verdict: every asset returned. Businesses. Houses. Cars. Bank accounts. Even the Rolex on his wrist wasn't really his, it was mine. And Daniel? He was left with nothing. Worse than nothing, he was slapped with fraud charges. His reputation? Shattered. His empire? Gone. I'll never forget walking past him outside the courthouse. He whispered, voice shaking. "I thought you were dead." I leaned in, smiled, and said, "Yeah. You should have kept it that way. People say revenge doesn't fix anything. That it doesn't bring peace. But they're wrong. Because sometimes, justice is revenge. And sometimes the only way to heal from betrayal is to make sure the betrayer feels every ounce of what they put you through." For me? Walking back into my life, reclaiming every piece Daniel tried to steal, it wasn't just about money. It was about proving that no matter how deep someone tries to bury you, you can still claw your way back. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button and tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever seen or pulled off? And of course, subscribe for more stories where justice isn't just served, it's served ice cold.